All right, welcome back. Question for the House. Steve Miller said it was perfect. Shouldn't Congress vote if the United States is going to end the internal combustion engine? Real simple, because that's what EPA wants to do. Joining us now is House Majority Leader Steve Scalise. Mr. Scalise, as always, sir, you know, Steve Miller put it very bluntly in the last segment. This crazy, convoluted EPA regulatory maze that they're going to have, you know, 2/3 are going to be electric vehicles in the next 10 years or 12 years. Nobody believes that. But essentially, their goal is to end the internal combustion engine and gas-powered cars. That's their goal. So the question before the House, sir, is shouldn't somebody in the House and or the Senate take a vote on whether we're going to repeal 120 years of technology?
Well, Larry, great to be with you. And by the way, Stephen Miller was spot on, as he often is. And, you know, look, I think, Stephen, you and me all watched Schoolhouse Rock. And, you know, I'm just a bill. And, you know, people used to learn how a bill becomes law. And it started with Congress passing that change in law. And then the president signs or vetoes it. Now, if you want to change the way America works, you just go into one of these bureaucracies and carry out your far left radical agenda that way. And, you know, and look, I mean, we're going to challenge this in the courts. You're going to see it challenged and hopefully defeated. But at the end of the day, it's the idea that they want to do this to you, Larry. The big government socialists, as you pointed out, they want to change the way we live our lives. And it's not because they want to help America. You know, they call it the green agenda. I call it the red agenda, because where are these batteries being made? In China. You know, you look at all the things they're doing. They're making us more dependent on China. Nobody makes things better in the world than America. Unfortunately, on the left, you see these radicals wake up every day and they find ways to just beat up America. They think America is the worst place in the world. I mean, I'm sick and tired of it. I think most Americans are sick and tired of it. But you know, they just continue to do this where they want to tell you how to live your life. And by the way, they don't live by those same rules. You've seen them over and over again, the hypocrisy of the left. And, you know, they'll fly around on private jets telling you to drive around in a Prius by yourself with 3 masks on. You've seen it. You know, what are they going to do to charge these electric vehicles? By the way, Gavin Newsom, who's trying to put this mandate on the people of California, literally announced days after he said, let's get rid of the combustion engine in California, told you don't charge your electric vehicle in your light socket at night because they don't have a grid that's capable of handling recharging your cars. You know, you don't plug these things into a tree. Common sense at some point has to be invoked. You know, let people actually make their own choices. And again, nobody makes things better than America. Stop beating up America and making us dependent on China, for God's sake.
So look at, I just was wondering, so H.R. 1, which you quarterbacked, Lower Energy Cost Act, which I love, you know.
This bill you're talking about.
Yes. And by the way, that is prominently featured in my office, and I thank you for that great hard hat. But is there any way H.R. 1 can stop what the EPA is doing, or does it have to go through different legal channels altogether?
Yeah, the Lower Energy Costs Act is really focused on allowing us to explore and produce our own energy here in America and become dependent on no other country, get rid of that dependency. And as Stephen Miller was asking about earlier, you know, the critical minerals that are used in everything from electric vehicles to computer chips, we're dependent on countries like China for all of that. We actually allow our country to mine a lot of those critical minerals here in America. But there's another bill, Larry, and I know you and I have talked about this years ago, called the RAINS Act.
Yes.
And this is a bill we're going to be bringing to the floor again. The RAINS Act really gets to the heart of these out-of-control unelected bureaucrats. And it says any unelected bureaucrat that comes up with an idea, great, let's go have a hearing on it. If it makes sense, their rule would actually be voted on by Congress and implemented. And if it's really stupid, which a lot of them are, we vote it down. But it doesn't happen if it has an impact on the economy unless Congress votes it up or down. That's the RAINS Act. That's something that we're going to be continuing to promote. That would solve this and many, many other problems.
Yeah, 100%. That's great. Just the other one, Steve Scalise, we appreciate your time on a Friday. Update us on the debt reduction, spending cuts, work requirements bill. We know about Speaker McCarthy's excellent letter to President Biden. As far as I know, we haven't heard back from President Biden. There's no second date here. Maybe you can tell us more. Is the House going to gin up more specifics, you know, just for the debt reduction thing? Is that on the card or not?
Yes, it is. And you're going to be excited about what you see next week. And in fact, Speaker McCarthy is going to be laying this out Monday in a speech he gives on Wall Street. But at the end of the day, President Biden wants to run out the clock. He wants to create a debt crisis. You'll watch him. Look, every week he's going to start talking about, gee whiz, unless he gets another credit card to go max out, because he maxed the last one out, that the world's going to collapse and that he's going to refuse to pay the minimum balance. He's going to just let our country default. That's crazy talk. It's not something we should even be flirting with, yet President Biden is, because he doesn't want to negotiate about spending. I think most Americans recognize, of course, you pay your debts, but you also don't keep racking up more debt. You don't get another credit card to max out when you maxed out the last one. You get control over your spending and doing things like putting basic requirements on work, so that if you're getting welfare, it should only be there if you're on hard times. You shouldn't be getting $35,000 a year from the taxpayers of America if you just want to sit at home and turn down work or not even look for work. And I think that's what people are fed up with. Think of the single mom who's working 2 or 3 jobs right now to make ends meet. She's got to be paying for some 30-year-old kid who's sitting in his mom's basement collecting $35,000 a year. It's not right. It's not something that we can continue doing. So we're going to have a lot of reforms, things like clawing back a lot in the COVID unspent money, putting basic requirements. You got all these people here illegally, millions that have come in. Many of them are collecting lots and lots of taxpayer-funded benefits that they're not even eligible for, because they don't even have eligibility on a lot of these benefits. Why don't we just clamp down on some of the abuse that's going on out there? You'll save trillions of dollars, and we won't keep maxing out the credit card like Joe Biden did with his spending spree went on the last 2 years.
So basically, Speaker McCarthy's speech at Stock Exchange will lay out additional details. Is that fair?
Just watch the speech Monday morning and then watch Congress take action.
Okay.
And we've got to solve this problem. We've got to solve the spending problem. At the same time, we're talking about why Biden maxed out the nation's credit card over the last 2 years.
All right. Will do. Steve Scalise, thanks very much. We appreciate it.